Hey guys, the video you're about to watch is one of the lessons that I'm creating on KBTrainings.com. I have a master course on the Cisco CCNA 200-301. The course goes from zero to engineer and can help you prepare and take successfully this big exam that can help you start to boost your career in the IT. If you want to know all the basics of networking that you need to be successful in your career, that exam is covering that. And you know that networking is the base of most of the fields that we know. When we talk security, cloud or cybersecurity, before securing devices, you need to know how they work. You need to know how they connect. And we know that most of the hacks and breaches happen when the traffic is in transit. So you need to master the networking part of it before moving to anything else. So that's what I'm going to do in that course, or that's what I'm doing in the course. And if you want to join the course, the link is in the description, or just go on KBTrainings.com. That's where the course is located. Thank you, and let's go to the lab. Hey, what's up guys? This is Guy here. Welcome to the lab number 2.3.4 for our course on the CCNA 200-301. Today we're going to do some practice on the 2-tier and 3-tier architecture. Of course, we are still talking about network architecture and specifically LAN architecture. So in the last few lessons, the last 3 lessons, I introduced you to the 2-tier and the 3-tier architecture, and today we are going to do some practice. So this is the packet Trusser topology that I'm going to use today. As you can see, I have 2 different topologies here. On this side, we have a 3-tier architecture. Here we can see the access layer, the distribution layer, and the core layer. On this other side, we have a collapsed core architecture, or the 2-tier, where we have the collapsed core layer here, or the core, and we have the access layer down here. So the lab today, this is what we're going to do. I have some things that we have to cover by the end of this. So we will have to do the addressing, which is done already. So if you are a student on KBTrainings.com, you have a file linked to this lesson. You can just download it and then we can work together from there. But otherwise, you can just build your own lab. It's very simple. I'm going to show you. I mean, you can go from scratch and bring all the devices and bring the exact same topology. So the addressing is done, and we will do some ether channels. We'll do VLAN configuration, VLAN routing, FHRP, or first hop redundancy protocol. We're going to use HSRP because we have many protocols that we can use, but HSRP is what we're going to use today. And then we're going to do some core routing. All right, so let's go to the lab. So first of all, let me explain a little bit the logic in this topology. So we have 2 VLANs on both sides. We have the VLAN 22 and VLAN 23. And the way I do it is that all the computers that have an even number, including 0, will be in the even VLAN. So this one will be in the VLAN 22 and the odd ones will be in the VLAN 23. And for the addressing, here we already have the subnet. So what I do for the computers is that I add 10 to the PC number. So this one will be .10 for the last octet. This will be .15, for example. At this layer, I add 10 when it comes to the layer 3 on this side. And at the core level or the core layer, I add 20 to the device. I already have the devices renamed. This one is ASW1, which means access switch number 1. And this is the 2, the 3. Here we have the distribution switch number 1, number 2, and we have the core switch number 1 and number 2. And this router, I use it as a reference. For example, after everything is configured, we should be able to ping from any device down here all the way to this router, which might be connected to the internet. So we assume that our traffic can also go out to the internet and back. That's what we're going to do here. So I think we won't be able to do both of these today. So we're going to do only the 3-tier, and the 2-tier will come later. For now, I have the VLAN configured on the, I'm not sure about that. We're going to check together to see if I have the VLANs already configured on here. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to open the computers just to show you what the IP looks like. This one is 22.10. So let's see on the switch if we already have the VLAN configured. So if I go on the switch ASW1, I can run the show VLAN brief. Okay, I can see that we don't have the VLANs actually. So we need to put the 2 ports in the respective VLANs. Here we have the VLAN 22 and the VLAN 23, so I'm going to do that. So if I'm not sure where the devices are connected, I can run some traffic, I can run some ping, so I can know exactly where they are. So if I do a ping to anything, I have to do it from the device. So if I go in the device, in this one here, I can see that the MAC address is ending in 4C74, and I can open the command prompt and run some ping to anything, to Google, for example. And I can do the same in the computer number 1. And for the number 1, I know that the MAC is ending in 24C4. All right, so if we go back to the switch and we do show MAC address. Oops, no, I have to, all right. Show MAC address. We can see that the PC 0 is connected to the port number 1, and the PC 1 is connected to the port number 2. So port number 1 is in the VLAN 22, port number 2 is in the VLAN 23. So what I'm going to do is go inside, okay, still here. I'm just going to do config terminal and just go under the port and assign it to the right VLAN, and it's going to create a VLAN automatically. So I will do switch port access VLAN 22. It's going to create a VLAN 22 as well. So I do for FA0/2 switch port access VLAN 23. That's all we need for now. And because I have to do the same thing on the other 2 switches that we have here, what I like to do is get my OneNote opened. Let me open my Notepad instead. Notepad++, okay. And I like to get everything written here before copying it into the switch. So what I do is enable config terminal. All right, and I do interface fast Ethernet 0/1, switch port access VLAN 22, interface fast Ethernet 0/2, switch port access VLAN 23, and that's it. I do end at the end, and I can copy this and go and put it in both the switches that we have here. Okay, I'll go in switch number 3 and put this on. All right, so we have our VLAN configured on this side, but right now we cannot even ping inside the VLANs, because if I try to go from the PC number 0 and ping the 712.22.14, for example. Oh no, that 22.0.14. What? Oh, that's 0.14. I won't be able to do it. Why? Because these ports here, and by the way, let me explain something. So the way I want to do it is, let me remove this first. The way I want to do it is that we are going to do routing at the distribution level. So this is where our default gateways are going to be located. So the traffic to go to another VLAN, or even inside the same VLAN, the traffic has to go all the way to distribution and then down to whatever VLAN or device he wants to go to. So we are putting the demarcation here, and we have layer 3 going up and layer 2 going down. That's why for these links here, I put the subnets, because all these are layer 3 links. We don't need spanning tree or anything layer 2 beyond this point. So that's what we're going to do. And what I was saying is that right now we can't ping between VLAN or intra VLAN, because these links here are supposed to be trunks, but right now they are not. That's why we won't be able to ping from here to there. So the next thing we're going to do is make sure we have these trunks going up to the distribution switch, so that we can ping. So I'm going to open the switch here, and I know that, let me see, if I do show CDP neighbors, let's see if we have some information on the, okay, I know that the 3 and the 4 are the ports that are connected to the distribution switches. So what I'm going to do is write my command here so that the 3 and the 4 are trunks. So I'm going to do interface range fast Ethernet 3 to 4, and inside I'm going to do switch port mode trunk. For this switch here specifically, we don't need to define the encapsulation, so we are good. And that's it. I'm going to copy this and put it in the 3 switches that we have here. So first in the switch 1, okay, and then in the switch 2 and the switch 3. Okay, so we should have these links coming up as trunks. So while they are trying to come up, let's see from the distribution switch if we have information from the core switches. Show CDP neighbors. We don't have anything from the core, which means that maybe CDP is not enabled in a core. Let's go and check there. Show CDP. It says CDP is not enabled, so we need to enable it. Configure terminal, we do CDP run. Depending on the version of your switch, it may not have CDP enabled. Okay, so when we go back here, let's try to ping again. Ping 172.22.0.14. We are in the same VLAN. We should be able to ping each other here. It might take a moment for maybe ARP to finish its thing. It still doesn't work. What's going on? Oh, okay, something. I think maybe we don't have the VLANs in these switches here. If I do show VLAN brief, yep, we don't have VLANs here. So I need to add those VLANs. I will do VLAN 22 and VLAN 23. That's all I need for now. And I can go to the switch number 2 distribution and do enable configure terminal VLAN 22 and VLAN 23. So after doing this, we should be able to ping now. Let's try again. Still doesn't work. What? Okay, it's working at least. It's working now. I was about to lose it. I'm kidding. All right, so now it's working. So we are good for inter VLAN. But if I want to do for intra VLAN, if I want to do inter VLAN to the VLAN 23 for the computer number 13, I will not be able to do it because we don't do any routing at this switch here. What we have to do is make sure that we have the default gateway already set up. And so that when the traffic leaves, let me show you, when the traffic leaves here, it needs to be sent to the default gateway and down to whatever it wants to go. So I'm going to create a virtual interface for the VLAN number 22 and VLAN number 23 on the distribution switches. And I know that I'm going to use HSRP to balance the traffic. I want this switch, I want this to be the primary or the active for the VLAN 22, this one to be the active for the VLAN 23. So I'm going to make sure that HSRP is also configured at the same time when I create those interfaces. That's what I'm going to do now. So let's go into it. All right, I will create the interface VLAN 22. And I want to give it the IP of 100. That is the default IP on the interface, but it's also going to respond to the virtual IP of .1. So for this 22, for example, I'll give it the IP address of 172.22.0.100 with a subnet mask of /16, and I'll do a no shot. Also at the same time, I'm going to activate HSRP. So I'll do standby 22, just a random number, but I want to make it look like the VLAN ID. So standby 22 IP 172.0, that's 22.0.1, because this is the default gateway that is set up for the devices in the VLAN 22. So once I do this, I can also add some other configurations like the priority, because I want this one to be the active by default for the VLAN 22. So I'm going to increase the priority because the highest is the best. And I will activate the preemption too, which means that whatever device has the best priority is going to become active whenever it joins the network. That's it. And I'm going to do the same thing for the VLAN number 23, and we'll just change the command here. For the 23, we have an IP address of 23.100. We have the group number 23 and 23 here. We also have the priority for 23 set to 95 because I want this to be the secondary for 23. So I set it to 95. I'm also going to activate the preamp or preemption. Okay, 23 here. That's it. Let's go ahead and verify what we did. So I do show run. If I go all the way down, you can see that I have these commands here for the interface VLAN 22 and 23. They look good. Okay, so what I want to do is copy these commands here because I want to do the same thing in the switch number 2. So I'm going to copy that and bring it here and make some changes to it. I don't need this, so I'll just keep this one here. I don't need the MAC address. For here we do 200 and the remaining section can, okay, here we do 95 because I want this to be the secondary for the VLAN 22 or the standby. So I don't need the MAC address, and I'm going to do 200 here, and this one will be 105. Okay, so I can just copy this and come to the DSW2 configure terminal, and I'm going to pass those commands, and this should be working. All right, so we can see here that for the VLAN 23, this device is active, and it doesn't show it somewhere, but for the VLAN 22, it should be standby. Yeah, it should probably come later. But let's go to the DSW1. Okay, this one is standby for the VLAN 23, and it's active for the VLAN 22, which is good. So if I go back to the VLAN 0, to the computer number 0, which is here, let's try to ping the 13. I think we should be able to ping it because we have everything set up correctly. It may take a moment for ARP to propagate. Okay, still doesn't work. Let's go and verify. I think I know what's going on. See if we go back in the switch and check show IP route, we don't have anything here, even though we have two interfaces. Show IP interface brief. That's ambiguous. Okay. We have these two layer 3 interfaces, but we don't have anything in the routing table, which means the IP routing is not enabled. So depending on the version of your device, you may have IP routing disabled. So you need to, or this is a switch, layer 3 switch, so it doesn't come enabled by default. So you need to make sure it's enabled. By running this command here, we need to do IP routing. Or if you're working on IPv6 and it doesn't work, you need to do IPv6 routing. So I need to do that on both the switches that I have here. IP routing. All right. Let me go back to the computer and ping again. Should be able to ping now. Okay, yep, pinging correctly without any problem. All right, so right now let's go back to the notes that we have. We did the addressing, of course it was there. We did VLAN configuration, VLAN routing, FHRP. So now we need to do EtherChannel, and we'll finish with OSPF with core routing. So the EtherChannel part is just making sure that the links that we have here are into a port channel. So we can do that. At the same time, we can also do the core routing. I can make sure, let's start with this router and make sure it's configured correctly. Okay, let's see what are the ports here. I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, 0, 0, and 0, 1. Because I always start from the left to the right. So this one is 0, 0. The other one is 0, 1. So I'm going to go inside the router and make sure those ports are configured. Interface gig 0, 0 with IP address of 172.16.0.1/16. No shots. All right. We're going to do the same for the 0/1 with the IP address of 17.1. All right. We come back to this with OSPF, but later on. Oh, I didn't enable that interface. 0/1. No shot. All right. Okay, so let's go back on the distribution switch here. Let's see what are the ports connected to the core switch. Show CDP neighbor. Okay, I can see that 4 and 5 are connected to the core switch 1. And if I go on the DSW2, show CDP neighbors. Okay, apparently we don't have CDP enabled on core switch 2. Let's do it. CDP run. All right. I think it's going to show up now. Okay. So we have the 4 and 5 going to the 1 and the 6 going to the 2. So what I'm going to do is grab these two interfaces, bundle them in a port channel, and then add an IP on it. So to do that, I'll do config t interface range fast Ethernet 0/5. It's 4 to 5, and we do channel group 1 mode desirable. All right, and then I will go in the interface that I just created, the port channel number 1, and then we'll do no switch port to make it a layer 3, and we add an IP address of 172.18.0. That, as I said, this is going to be 11 because I'm adding 10 to it, and the mask is /16. Do a no shot, and I can verify and do show EtherChannel summary. Okay, we have one down. We're going to bring it up. I think we need to do on the other side as well. That's fine. Okay, so if I go on the DS number 2, show CDP neighbors, will show that 4 and 5 are going to the CSW2. Okay. So I'll do configure terminal, interface, fast Ethernet, no, interface range, fast 4 to 5, channel group 1, mode desirable, and then I'll go to that port and do no switch port, add the IP address of, where was it going again? CS2. So we have 19. Okay, 172.19.0.22/16. No shot. Not sure if it's needed, but always safe to do. And I need to go on this side as well. When we go to the core switches, show CDP neighbors, I can see that 1 is 0, 1 and 0, 2. This one here, so it's 18. So I'm going to do configure terminal, interface gigabit 1, 0, 1 and 2, no, range, interface range. All right, so here I'm going to do channel group 1 mode desirable. Okay, and then I'll go to the port channel number 1 and do no switch port, IP address 172.18.0. 21/16. No shut as always. So now our ether channel should be up. Show ether channel summary. Okay, we can see RU. R means layer 3, U means in use. So it's good now. We have one other interface here going to the DSW2. Let me see what interface it is. 1.4. I mean 1.4. No switch port. IP address of 172.24.0.21. Okay, no shut. And I also have another link going to the switch, going to the switch number 2. Let me see. Okay, 0.5. Okay, so I will go with the 5. Same thing, no switch port, and the IP address will be 20. No shut. So I don't have anything from this router in the CDP. Maybe CDP is down. Let's do show CDP. It's down, so we're going to enable it. CDP run. Okay, and if we go back to this switch, by the way, if you see it doing this, like going all red, you can just go into the interface port channel 1 and do a shut and no shut. Yep. So if we are here, we can do another show CDP neighbors. We can see that the router is connected to 106. So we're going to work on 106. No switch port. IP address 172.16.0.21/16. No shuts. I think that's it for this device here. We have all the links, all the layer 3 links configured. Show IP interface brief. We have this one here. Okay, so I think we look good. So let's go to this other one here. Show IP interface brief. Okay, we still don't have the port channel, which is understandable, and we still don't have IPs. So what I'm going to start with is the port channel. So I can do show CDP neighbors. I can see that the DSW2 is connected to the 1 and 2. So I'm going to do configure terminal interface range gigabits 101 to 2. Channel group 1 more desirable. And then I'll go to the port channel and we'll do no switch port for layer 3. IP address will be 172.19.0.22/16. No shut. I can do a shut, no shut here. Let me do it on the other side. It's better. Interface port channel 1. Shut, no shut. Okay, and if I do show EtherChannel summary, we can see that it's running. It's RU, so it's running and it's up. I can even ping on the other end, so I can do 172.19.0.22. Yep, I ping without any problem. So let's see what we have left. I think I have this link here. I go back to the core switch. I can do show CDP neighbors. Okay, the DSW1 is connected on 103. So I will do interface gig 103 no switch port, IP address 172.21.0.22, no shot. And the other one is going to the CSW one, so I have 0 and 5. Okay, so I'll do 1/5, no 56. Okay, no switch port with the address of 20. Okay, yep, it should be good. And there is another port connected to the router. The router is connected to 1/6. So we do 1/6 now. No switch port. IP address will be 17. No shot. Not sure if it's helpful, but anyway. So I have all these different links configured, but still I won't be able to ping 172.16.0.1. This is the router that's up here. So we are receiving a response saying that we don't know how to reach it. Why? Because we don't have core routing. We don't have OSPF or anything configured here. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to activate OSPF in all these devices. So what I'm going to do is grab my notepad and just write my OSPF command. So it's going to be router OSPF 1, and I'm going to add all the networks. If I want to grab everything that is in this topology, I will just select 172. So I have to have a subnet mask of 0.255. Oh, wide call mask instead. So if I do this, all the interfaces on all these 5 devices will be enabled for OSPF. I think that's it. So I'll just copy this and bring it to all the devices. First, we start with this router. Let's see what we have as a message. Oh, we need to do config terminal. Okay, we didn't do config terminal. All right, so let's try again. Copy, come here. Oh, I have this one running. So if you don't have a domain server, I mean, you know it already if you use packet Trusser. If you make a mistake here, it will try to translate that, but it will stay there for a moment. So let's go to another device and just put it on. IP routing. Oh, okay. On the core switches, IP routing is not enabled. Let's go ahead and enable it. So let's see, IP routing. Okay. And if I put my command, now it should work. Oh, and complete command. What? Why am I going so fast? So I need to add area 0 because this is OSPF, all right? Yep, this is OSPF. So let's go back to switch 2. Oh, damn it. All right, sorry. Okay, it works on here. Let's go on the devices that are ready and just put it on. What again? Okay, IP routing is not enabled. Okay, IP routing. Okay, I come here, put it on, come here, put it on, and which one did we have left? This one is still. All right, so we put this on and it is done. So we should see, let's stay here. So we're going to see all the adjacencies coming up here, going from loading to full. Yep, we have them coming one by one. All right, so let's now go and see if we can ping. Perfect. So now, as you can see, we can ping from here all the way to there, because this device is our exit point. We can go to the internet from here. We can have a VPN configured. We can have a bunch of things here. So this is all I wanted to verify and make sure we're able to do. And this is just the part 1 of this. I don't want to make it very long. In the next section, we're going to do the collapsed core. But for now, that was everything that we had to do. Alright guys, thank you for watching. If you have any question, as usual, go in the forum and ask your question, or you can send me an email. I'll be glad to respond. Yeah, if you are on YouTube, if you think this is helpful, please, even if it's not, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also share our video to help the channel. For KB Training students, the link to the file is below. You can download it. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and bye.